So we are going to move on to, I'm going to go ahead and contour. I'm going to use, this is NYX's blush in Taupe. I use this a lot for contouring. I think it's an awesome color. I'm going to be using the Sephora's IT Collection Natural Foundation Brush. This isn't my favorite brush for contouring. It does work fine, I just don't like it as much as Sigma's, I can't remember the number. I'll post it wherever, somewhere down in here where it slides through. And I tend to do this when I'm contouring because it helps me see this angle right here of my cheekbone. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Pretty close to my ear, right under where I can feel there's a hollow. Right under where I can feel my cheekbone and there's a hollow right underneath. And then I just try to go in this motion. If you're looking straight on, my face is very flat because I do have a very predominantly Asian face even though I'm mixed. My face is very flat, so I can tell that right here, this is where it starts to become flat. Like this is, I don't know how I can display this. Like if you look straight on, I can tell right here the curvature of my face is starting to turn to the side. So I don't go past that point when I'm contouring onto my face because I don't want it to look like I have weird random streaks on my face. So yeah. And if you want, you can go up into your forehead and down your jawbone. It's really up to you. I don't really go that far because I tend not to use a heavy hand when I'm contouring anyhow. I'll go ahead and go this way. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I normally do this in the big mirror, but I'm trying to face you all, and I don't think it's going to help if I'm masking what I'm doing. If you want to give yourself like a sun bronze look, you can do this with a bronzer, or you can do it with this, like a contour color like this, and then go over a little bit with a bronzer. It's really up to you. Especially since I have such a light hand, I try to I'll bronze every now and then, but I don't go crazy with it. Again, I just want it to look like I have a little bit of something. I don't want it to be obvious. There are times where I go a little crazy. I'm not going to say it's obvious, but it definitely looks a lot darker than it does today. Okay, so I'm going to use my most orange blush. I actually have two that are pretty orange, and both of them are just as nice as the other. This is by Essence. It's the Silky Touch blush. This is in number 30, Secret It Girl. I do like this. I like it a lot, but I'm going to use the really scary orange looking one. This is by NYX. It is called Cinnamon. It's number PB08, and it looks like that. So, kind of scary looking. I'm going to use my Samantha Chapman Real Techniques contour brush. I don't have, see how it's orange? I don't have I have huge cheeks in the sense there's a lot of area to them, but I don't have a huge area to blush in terms of my cheekbones and highlighting that for blush. So I like using a smaller brush to help me concentrate it, and that way I can kind of control where I'm going, and I'm not going crazy with a huge brush all over my face. So I'm just going to kind of right where I stopped contouring, right here in this area is where I'm going to be putting blush. So I just kind of dot it on first just so I know that's where I'm going. And then after that I pull it back in circular motion. So I'm going, I guess to you guys what is this? This would be counterclockwise to you all. And then I try to go the other way to try to spread it out, and then once I know it's been spread out. And I try to go above and into a little bit the contour shade. So you don't want a lot, but it does look like I have some type of nice little blushiness going on. And it does look really natural, so it's not too crazy. So I do have orange blush on there. Go ahead and put that away because I don't really need a ton. Oh, it's getting darker in here because it's so overcast outside. But again, I'm just going to go ahead and dot where I want it to go, and then swirl away towards, you're going to swirl towards your ear and towards your hairline. That makes sense. And then kind of pull it back. And then once you realize it's been kind of dispersed in that direction, you don't have a ton left on your brush, you can kind of go back and forth and up and down into your contour area just to blend them together. You can go this way if you want to, if you really want to disperse it a little bit that way so it doesn't look like you have just skin orange and then like a nice, you know, faded look back there, but you don't have a nice faded look in the front. So you can go ahead and kind of even out the edges a little bit here. That's why it's so much nicer to be able to do it with a smaller brush like this. If you can find a small regular blush brush at a drugstore, that could work just as well. Or even like a blending brush if you're really terrified and you really want to do a lot of detail work, which I think you would have to be OCD to do it with a blending brush, but it's not impossible. You could go ahead and do out the edges there, especially if you have a very small area to work with and you have a small face. It may be easier too because, or for you, because there are a lot of blush brushes out there and I'm like, whose face is this supposed to go on? Nobody has cheekbones that big. Well, I'm not going to say that. There are people out there who have cheekbones that big, and if that's the case, then you all are very lucky. But so yeah, so it looks pretty even. I'm looking at myself, and you can obviously tell I'm wearing blush. This is not for somebody who wants to look like I'm not wearing any blush, or, you know, totally natural. If that's the case, you want to go with something that's a little bit more, not so blushy. And so then I'm going to go ahead and highlight. I'm using, what is this? MAC Semi-Precious Pearl. This is a mineralized skin finish. This came out with a Semi-Precious Pearl collection. I'm just using this because I'm trying to get rid of it. Or not get rid of it because I really like it. But I'm trying to use it up, and I have a ton of product. And I only use that much on each cheek. So that's not a lot. I'll be using this for a while. So I go ahead. I can tell where the top of my bone is without having to look. Or not having to look, but without having to really like do anything, contort my face. And I'll go back and do this side. You just want to make sure that you're getting the high plane of your cheekbone where you can see there's a lot of, you can see that the light tends to catch that part of your cheekbone, so that when you're turning and all of that, people see it and they're like, oh, look at that. And you can go down your nose if you want to. I don't tend to since I want to keep it matte. So you can go across your Cupid's bow. It's really up to you. I don't really care about all of that. There's some people who really go intense with everything in terms of contouring and making sure that everything looks all lighted up where it's supposed to, and, you know, darkened up where it's supposed to not be as obvious. Let me see. I think I'm pretty much done. If I feel like I need to go ahead and go back and like make sure everything's really blended, I can go back with the big fluffy brush and make sure everything's really blended. It really just depends on how I'm feeling.